What is up, guys? It is RSC6414 here, back with another video. This time I'm reviewing TNA's One Night Only Pay-Per-View Extravaganza number 2. Last year they started Extravaganza. It was the first One Night Only pay-per-view last April. This year they changed its different month slot. It aired August 1st, and it keeps airing on pay-per-view. I think it's $15. I did not buy it, but I did watch it through magical devices and other websites that I paid for. But yeah, let's go ahead and get to the review. The first match we had this basically was obviously around the X division with a main event Ultimate X match. The first match we had was a qualifying match, Low Key versus Chris Sabin. If you won the match, you'd advance to the Ultimate X match in the main event. There were about 4 or 5 qualifying matches. Low Key versus Chris Sabin. This was a good match. I enjoyed it. It was back and forth. Probably got about 10 minutes. Good way to open up the show with this kind of match here. And basically, Low Key picked up the win, hit the key crusher for the 1, 2, 3, and that was basically it. Low Key picked up the win. Good match. The last match we saw of Chris Sabin on TV in TNA. And there was another tag team, Bad Influence, that we would see later on in the night. That would also be their last time being seen on TV in TNA, for now anyway. Next match we had was a qualifying match. Rashad Cameron, aka Black G's from CZW. CZW. If you watch Combat Zone Wrestling, it's an indie fed. A lot of blood and guts promotion, but he goes by Black G's on the indies. Good wrestler, taking on Zema Ion. This match was entertaining. I wouldn't say it was probably one. I'd say it wasn't like great, but it wasn't terrible either. It was just kind of a mediocre match. It didn't get as much time as the first match. Basically, Rashad Cameron picked up the win here. Would advance to the Ultimate X match along with Low Key. The next match we'd have was another qualifying match. Kenny King versus Rubix, aka Jigsaw on the indies. This match was one of the few matches that one of the newcomer TNA guys or part-timers did not win. Kenny King would pick up the win. Again, there was about 4 or 5, maybe 6 or 7 qualifying matches, and about 4 of those winners out of the 3 were guys that weren't full-time members of the roster, so that was big. But this match was pretty good, Kenny King and Rubix. I would say it was a little better than Rashad Cameron versus Zema Ion. Back and forth action, some good X Division action. Good seeing Kenny King in the X Division picture again. He was still using his King of the Night gimmick during this taping, which shows about how old it was, because now he's with MVP, obviously. That's the only problem I have with these One Night Only tapings. They're taped so far in advance, and some of the guys like Chris Sabin and Bad Influence aren't even on the roster anymore. So it's just it's kind of dumb in a way that they're asking us to pay $15 for guys that aren't even on the roster anymore. But, you know, what are you going to do? This match, like I said, that was my little rant, but Kenny King versus Rubix, that was a good match. Kenny King picks up the win here. It's his finisher for the 1, 2, 3, Kenny King with the W. Next match we had was Ace Vedder versus Manic. Ace Vedder, aka formerly known as Greg Marashulo last year in TNA, aka Trent Beretta, aka Trent for PWG. But Ace Vedder, he was going by a new ring name, versus Manic, formerly known as Suicide, if you want to, aka TJ Perkins. But this match was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was one of the better X Division qualifying matches here. One of the better matches I thought overall on the show. Ace Vedder hit a running knee to the back on Manic for the 1, 2, 3, and Ace Vedder picks up the win here. He advances to the Ultimate X match. Next match we had Sanjay Dutt versus Rockstar Spud in singles action. Entertaining with Spud. This match was more of a comedy fest than it was an actual really good match. With Spud, it's hard to take the match seriously. It was just a funny match and entertaining for what it was worth. Sanjay Dutt would pick up the win here. He'd advance to the Ultimate X match. With a moonsault double stomp here, and Sanjay Dutt would pick up the win. He'd advance. Next match we had was Tigre Uno versus Petey Williams, who's now retired from wrestling when this show aired. So that shows you another thing. So thank you, Petey Williams, for all your contributions to the X Division, TNA, and wrestling. Just a quick little plug to the Canadian Destroyer here. Tigre Uno picks up the win here. Basically, that's it. Tigre Uno picks up the win. Entertaining match for what it was worth. And that was that. Petey Williams no longer in wrestling, so thanks again, Petey Williams. And we find out that there are only 4 competitors for the Ultimate X match. Low-Key, Rashad Cameron, Ace Vedder, and Sanjay Dutt. So basically the full-time roster guys, if they won the match, they did not qualify for the Ultimate X match. There was 4 guys in the main event Ultimate X match. The winner of the Ultimate X match would be determined a future title shot at the X Division Championship. So basically a #1 contender title shot at the X Division Championship in the future. Then after we had the final qualifying match, we had a $25,000 EC3 Invitational ladder match. EC3 was backstage, said he'd pay $25,000 to the winning tag team in this ladder match. They added a stipulation midway through the pay-per-view. It was the Wolves versus Bad Influence. Just a dream tag match. We've seen it before, I think on an episode Impact. It was good. This match delivered and more, a ladder match. It got about, probably seemed like 15 to 20 minutes. I thought this was the best match of the night in my opinion. Just a good match. Stole the show as expected. You had some crazy cool spots. Some springboard onto ladders. Backstabber, double backstabber by the Wolves. It was just a good match. I enjoyed it. Basically the Wolves hit their finisher, their double tag team finisher, the backstabber with the when he was powerbombing him, the Doomsday backstabber for the win. The Wolves pick up the win, and that's that basically. Just a good match. Bad Influence's last match in TNA on TV that we saw. For now, I don't know who's to say they're not coming back to TNA anytime soon. I'm guessing they're probably never coming back, honestly, but who knows. But that was their last match on TV that we would see the Wolves pick up the win. Next match, Sonata versus Austin Aries, a 2 out of 3 falls X Division title match. Sonata would pick up the first fall. This match was entertaining as well. I thought it was one of the better matches. Sonata would pick up the first fall. Then he'd hit the second fall with the bridging pin for the 1, 2, 3. Sonata would pick up the win. He would win 2 falls to none over Austin Aries to retain the X Division Championship. I was expecting this to go 3 falls, like generally a 2 out of 3 falls match does. This was 2-0. Keeps you unexpecting what could happen next. Sonata retains as expected though, because he held the title for a while, way past these tapings. So you knew Sonata was going to win. And now Austin Aries would end up holding the X Division title a couple weeks ago. Then he'd cash it in for a shot at Destination X and come up short to Lashley. So what are you going to do? But this match was good, entertaining. Sonata picks up the win. And then our main event, the Ultimate X, Low-Key versus Rashad Cameron versus Ace Vedder versus Sanjay Dutt. The winner would be granted a #1 contender title shot for the X Division Championship in the future. This match was entertaining for what it was worth. At one point you had Ace Vedder and Sanjay Dutt on the top, above the cables, on the steel structure, brawling at the top. Maybe you're thinking suplex. Just some cool spots throughout the match. Low-Key would climb across the ropes. Sanjay Dutt would be walking across the ropes. Low-Key would grab the X that was hanging below the cables. He would grab it and pull it off the cord right before Sanjay Dutt could get to him. Low-Key picks up the win by grabbing the X that was hanging by the cables. Low-Key is your official #1 contender for the X Division Championship in the future. He'll get a title shot at the X Division Championship. That concluded TNA One Night Only Pay-Per-View Xtravaganza 2. Hope you enjoyed this video. Check out my other videos and subscribe. The overall grade I'd give this pay-per-view 7 out of 10. Again, hope you enjoyed this video. Check out my other vids and subscribe. RSC6414 out. Deuces.